Section 5, you need to graph a line. All your equations should be written in y equals mx plus b form. This is slope-intercept form. And it's called this way because that number for b is your y-intercept, which is a fancy way of saying where you cross the y-axis. And m, or your slope, is going to tell you how to get to your next point. And so we saw in a previous video that that is our change in y over our change in x. So for example, if I come down here, I've got y equals. We're going to do a couple of these. Suppose first I gave you 1/2 x plus 2. And so what's going to happen for this particular problem, I'm going to draw a grid. This isn't going to be fantastic because I'm doing this by hand, but that's okay. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to mark my scales, so we've got our reference, we've got x and y. And so here's what happens. This 2 right here is your y-intercept, and it tells you where to start your graph, specifically when y is a positive 2. So if I start on my origin 0, 0, and I go up 2 units, I'm now right here at y equals 2. After y equals 2, I now need to move based on my slope. And my slope right here is telling me that I need to go a change of 1 in the y direction and a change of 2 in the x direction. So if I start here at my red point, I'm going to go up 1 unit, and I'm going to go to the right 2 units, and that's my new point. And I can do that again. I can go up 1 unit, and then I can go to the right 2 units and continue my point like such. And this isn't perfect because I'm doing it by hand without a graph paper, but we now see where our line would be. Now, on MyOpenMath, it's using a 2-point graphing tool. So you're going to want to place your first point at your y-intercept, and your next point is going to be any of these points. And it should be able to continue the rest of the line. Now, let's take a look at another one. So same idea. We want to graph that line, but suppose instead I gave you y equals negative 3x plus 5. So we're going up a little bit. Stay focused. Same thing, I'm going to sketch in a graph. I got to do a little bit more because I got to get up to 5. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the y scale, x scale, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. So same idea. I know where I'm going to start. I'm going to start at that. Apparently I just switched colors. My bad. I'm going to start at that plus 5. So I'm up here at plus 5 on my y-axis. That's my first point. And then to get to my next point, I need to look here at my slope. The challenge, though, is I don't have a fraction. And so our slope, we always think of in terms of a fraction. Change in y over the change in x. Well, I can turn this into a fraction by taking the number and putting it over 1. So that's one detail. The other detail is, oh look, I've got a negative sign. So if I've got a negative sign, that means I'm not going to go up, but instead I'm going to count down 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Now here's the deal. I counted down, meaning I've already used my negative sign, so I still go to the right 1. If you count down, you still go to the right. You only have to use 1 negative sign. If I counted down and went to the left, it'd be like if I used 2 negative signs. And then I could do that again. I can count down 3, 1, 2, 3, and then right 1, which would be right about there. And I can draw in my line. And notice this line has a negative slope, and we had a negative slope in front of x.